Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. I am recording. This is literally only the second time I've done a live recording for a collab. I'm recording live with Linda Schacht today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. But real quick, the whole idea behind this podcast came to me because I was talking with my girlfriend Ashley about what direction to go with the podcast at the end of the year, and I just told her that what feels aligned is I would love to find somebody who does like interior decorating or feng shui, but with like a holistic twist to it. And I just put that out there into the universe. I didn't have any idea if I was going to find this person, but I just thought this is a topic that isn't talked about enough, and I'm interested in it. So I bet listeners are interested in it. And then, literally within 24 hours of putting that out there, I was scrolling, just doom scrolling on Instagram. And another female entrepreneur that I follow, actually, her name's Mariah. She did my website. She's amazing. Shout out to Imprint. She's awesome. She had posted about Linda's work. And I saw this post and I was instantly intrigued. Went on directly, like, I went down a rabbit hole with this research. I went directly onto her website, The Alchemy House, right? Yeah, I went onto the website and I was like, this is my girl. Like, it felt soul aligned right away, you guys. It was just total synchronistic moment. And so I immediately, I think I sent you a voice memo. I immediately sent her a voice memo and was like, I need to have you on my podcast. Keep in mind, like, we had never met before. She didn't know me. I didn't know her. It just felt soul aligned. You know, those moments when you get those intuitive hits. That's what it was. And so here we are today, and we are live at one of your locations.
This is
the location.
the Alchemy House.
We're at the Alchemy House, you guys.
House 88,
Yeah.
which is, the nickname for this particular house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're at the Alchemy House. I'm Linda Schacht, and I am a holistic interior designer and a feng shui consultant. I'm calling myself more of an intuitive designer now versus just an interior designer, which, has been like my password.
I love it.
And we'll kind of get into why and how that shifted. Yeah, we're at the Alchemy House, and this is a house I've been working on for the last 15 months.
Wow.
It's been a labor of love.
Yeah, you can tell. As soon as you walk in, you can feel the vibes, you guys. It's homey, it's modern, and there's like a historical feel to it as well. But we're in Galena, Illinois. I didn't mention that. I guess I should have. Galena's a very touristy town, but it's also a very historic town. I just love the history behind Galena. So yeah, first of all, it's like on a dead end road, and just right away it has this inviting vibe. The color is very like earth tones. And then I walked into this house, you guys, and it just, I don't know, it feels like a cottage. Like, it feels very homey and very welcoming. And
Oh.
there's an energy about it, I'm telling you. So tell me more about the name.
Well, I'm super excited that we are able to have you in this space because I really think that, and one of the reasons that this started just, naturally unfolding into this place that I was going to, create in was for that reason. Honestly, I just wanted to have a show house versus a showroom. Because you can walk through any furniture store and it's never going to feel like a home does.
Yes,
And hit all of the different points. So this really just kind of grew into that. And now I came up with the name Alchemy House, and then had to go in before it. And then I was like, well, what's the Alchemy House? Like, what's like, what is it? And I'm like, oh my God, it's the house. Like, it's been the house. It's always been the house.
Yeah.
But then my business is the Alchemy House. So I didn't want it to only be the house because there's going to be many houses.
Right.
So this is house 1888. So it's an 1888 miner's cottage in Galena, Illinois. I've just shown it back to its original love in my interpretation of what that would be.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. So if you guys are listening and you're from like Eastern Iowa area or even like Southern Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, definitely consider coming and checking this out. You can just tell it's a labor of love. And it's not just interiors, you guys, it's the whole property. I mean, it's outside as well. We're in the we're recording this and it's just the start of fall, but truth be told, when this airs, it'll probably be December.
Yeah.
So maybe wait till the spring. But I'm just telling you, you're going to want to come visit if you're a local listener. Okay. So shifting gears, I just want to dive right in.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
I'm
So
here for it.
I know when I say holistic interior design, like, I just organically know what that means, but I want to make sure listeners aren't like sitting there like, what WTF is she talking about?
Yeah.
So can you just like, I don't want to say dumb it down, but can you just explain to listeners, like, what do you mean when you say even like feng shui? Because not everybody understands that either. Can you explain to listeners what that all entails?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to kind of explain holistic interiors, at least from like the voice of like my work,
Yes.
is fully encompassing every room in the house for a reason. So there's purpose, there's energy, there's intention, there's, a light chosen for a reason. A paint
Mhm.
color is purposely put on a wall, not only to represent and create something, in that room, but also to work with the room that's
Mm,
before that.
mm.
It's working with an emotion,
Wow.
energy,
Wow. You're
purpose.
bringing like whole body, holistic views into it. Yeah. It's that alignment, like you talked about. This is what's interesting. What I first heard you say when you were talking about the paint color is like, I almost feel like I did this when we bought our house in Earlville, Iowa in 2017, the year before we got married. And it was a forever home for the previous owners.
Mm.
And it was still like very much looked like the 60s type of home, right? They took very good care of it, but it just needed to be updated. So we did all new walls, all new flooring in the whole house. And I was very strategic about the paint colors that I chose. My
Mm.
husband's colorblind, so he didn't get to choose any of the paint. And so I was like,
Yes.
I'm a great, I know, full control. So I'm very much a coastal girl at heart. I don't know like why my soul chose to be born in the Midwest, but I'm very much a coastal girl. So every paint color that I choose, and still to this day, like I'm still like this, but the name of the paint has to be a coastal name because I
Mm.
just, even though we're in the middle of a cornfield, the inside of my house has to have that coastal vibe.
So it's like sea greens or like
Well, like
what is
the
the
gray of the
color?
clouds is in the main part of the house, like the living room area. The sand color is our dining room slash part of the kitchen area. The bathrooms are all that like turquoise,
Yep.
bluish green color, a dark gray, more of like the stormy beach colors in the bedroom. Yeah. But like they're only coastal colors. Like I was
Wow.
very intentional about
I
that
love
because
that.
that's what home is for me is the
Hmm.
beach. And so when I hear you saying like bring emotion into it, I feel like that's what I did because that's what's home to me. Like, you make your home into your sanctuary, right?
Exactly. And I think that the reason that so many people have a little roadblock
Mhm.
into creating is because we have so much inspiration around us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got
Yeah.
Pinterest, we've got scrolling through the
Yep.
internet, we've got millions of designers, we have,
Yeah.
so many options,
Mhm.
and we see so many beautiful things. And it's like, oh, I want that. Then I want that. And now I want
Yeah.
that.
You're
And
talking about
so,
shiny objects too. That's what you're
exactly,
talking about. Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
So, it's beautiful that you understood
Mhm.
that about yourself,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
sure you've done some like inner work to
Oh, yeah.
understand that.
Y
But, like when you first met me, you're like, "Did you ever do a color analysis?" And I'm like,
You just
"No."
look like you would
Yeah.
have. I don't know.
But I was a hairstylist and a
Right.
colorist for many years. So
Okay.
color has always just been in my
Yeah.
wheelhouse. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, going back to your house, that's exactly it tunes into kind of the work that I do. And it also goes into the feng shui. So, feng shui, you have purpose behind the color. And we use something called a bagua. And a bagua is a map. So it's 9 life areas, and
How do you spell that?
BAGUA.
Okay. I want to look into that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's 9 life areas. And so I would be really curious actually to do your house on that,
Yeah.
just to see like how you're working with the elements
Hmm.
of the bagua and, the colors.
Yeah.
Because intuitively, like even when I did this house, looking back after, because I started doing the feng shui consulting just recently,
Oh,
got
cool.
certified, and I was
Cool.
already picking things prior.
Okay.
And just intuitively,
Hmm.
I was on the right track. So
Wow.
I would be
Wow.
curious to understand
Yeah.
your color
I'm gonna dive
in
into
your
that.
home. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. So, who would you say is like an ideal customer for you if you had to describe that person?
I would say somebody who's open minded to change, which most people are usually hiring an interior designer. So they are about to change something.
Right,
Right.
right.
So that's a pretty easy, like solid, like, yeah, okay, we got that. The next thing would be for me personally, somebody who is willing to let me in to their emotional like, background, their home, their
Love.
purpose.
Yeah. We're not talking surface level, like
No.
meet and greet, and then you're going to give them designs. Like you want to get some
Yes.
background. And
Because I mean, it's easy for me to go in and create for what I like.
yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I can go in and pick anything that, and it's going to be beautiful. Don't get
Mhm.
me wrong.
Mhm.
But, that's not really always going to make sense for them in the long run.
Right.
And I want to
Right.
make sure that that customer is definitely thinking about, settling into that space and it feeling
Yeah.
like it's theirs. And not only theirs,
Okay.
the customer also has to have, like, if they're married, they have to have a husband who's open to this
Yeah.
work. Um,
Yeah.
because this is extremely like family oriented. It's not just like, oh, well, your husband's colorblind, which, okay, he doesn't
Mhm.
see color, but he
Certain
understands
colors.
energy. I'm sure he can
Yeah.
feel. So,
Yep.
and a lot of times, when you don't have, more in tune to something else.
Mhm.
So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
working with that side of it and what that means to him,
Okay.
would make a
Okay.
big deal too.
And I know we talked before we hit record. So I assumed that Linda is, well, I assumed a few things just based off of her website and her Instagram page and a few of the posts that I have seen. I assumed she's an energy worker. I think you probably are. You just haven't like actually gotten certified in it, but you just seem like you embody that, which I've been told that before I even got trained in Reiki. Like, I just think I naturally embody that. Would you say you're intuitive? I'm just curious.
Definitely. I mean, I've always been intuitive. I've always been a feeler.
It
And
seems like it. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. I didn't want to assume, but yeah.
And I took the interior out of it and just did more intuitive so that
Mm.
people understood that, like, I don't just make things pretty, I
Mhm.
really tune in.
Oh yeah.
And so back to like who would hire me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it could be anybody, but I think that the people that are going to get the most out of the
Mhm.
work that I'm now offering is going to be somebody who's really interested in, like, understanding how to better every area of their life and home.
I love that. And it could be a home, but it also could be your office space.
Yes, I
I
do
mean,
do business, and I
yeah.
have been doing a lot of businesses lately.
Really cool.
As an entrepreneur and, creating multiple businesses of
Mhm.
my own over the
Yeah.
years, it is definitely my wheelhouse.
Sure. Sure.
Creating the name, the brand, the colors, the whole thing is, it's
Cool.
fully one.
I love that. Okay. And as you were talking, what came into my mind is the fact that you worked with Mariah from
Yes.
Imprint. And it seems like she did all of my branding for
Yeah.
my business. And so I could see you two going hand in hand
Mm.
for business owners specifically. I love that.
Yes, I don't do a lot of the things that she does, but
Right. Right.
I totally feel her on every level
Mhm.
of collaboration and
Yeah.
creation. And if I was to build a home
Mhm.
or, even in this space in general, I have worked with multiple creatives to make this
Yeah.
because I think that so many beautiful minds are better than just,
Mhm.
me
Yeah.
doing it by myself. So I always
Absolutely.
appreciate having other people.
Love it.
So you're gonna hear the train.
I was gonna say I didn't even know we were right next to the tracks.
This is a miner's cottage. This is where as the trains would stop, this is where they would
Oh,
stay.
wow. That's fascinating
Huge
history.
history, huge history. So
Yeah.
so many settlers and many people have
Wow.
come in and out of this home. Yeah.
So did you have somebody come in here and do like a reading of the home, like a shamanic healer? Have you done that? I'm just
Nope,
curious.
nope, I
Okay.
have not. I
Just with the
have
history, I didn't know.
Yep,
Yeah.
I have just naturally tuned in
Mhm.
and read the home,
Yeah.
which is part of the work that, like, I'm now bringing forward. So I think that just kind of settling in it,
Mhm.
I've kind of
Yeah.
had my own.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. I don't market myself as an intuitive therapist yet,
yeah.
but I definitely use those words. And a lot of my current clients know I'm intuitive. And so they just think like, wow, I feel like I'm getting more of a bang for my buck here. Cause like, yeah, you kind of are in a way, but I feel like most therapists are, but I don't know. I think in this area, in this rural Midwest area, if I were to throw that word and actually put it into my business, some people with limiting beliefs
Mhm.
might struggle with that. But I love that you replace that word with intuitive. Like that is speaking directly to me. Like I think I would be an ideal client of yours. Just
Aw.
knowing that I did have an interior decorator design my therapy office when I first opened, which was great. I had never worked with one before. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I can definitely see at some point wanting to like redo that,
Mm,
but I would need somebody holistic
yeah.
like yourself, because it's not just a therapy office. It's the energy I bring into the room. It's how I want clients to feel when they walk out and when they walk in, when they walk out. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just I
Mhm.
want it to feel and look therapeutic. You know
That
what
could
I
be
mean?
like a whole nother podcast.
Oh,
We can just
100%.
dive in and
100%. Yeah,
get her done.
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, so you said that you can see yourself as my clients.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, like who are you as an individual and what is it that you would want it to be kind of read to you or more in tune to your home or your office space? Like what are those things that you feel from me that I would be able to offer? Just curious.
So, how do I want people to feel when they come into my home? So, like I said, I'm a coastal girl at heart. I've been told multiple times in multiple different like medium sessions and Reiki sessions that I was a mermaid. Like I had a mermaid energy in a past life. Like, yeah. And so with that being said, like I want people to walk into my home and I know it's in the middle of a cornfield, but I want people to walk in feeling like there is this coastal vibe to it. Like we don't have this body of water anywhere near
Yeah.
us, but I want people to feel that way.
But that's why you have the
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it also is kind of like a modern farmhouse feel a little bit. We did not hire an interior decorator, but between my husband and myself, we did design, like,
Mhm.
we put all the wall decor up ourselves. And I will say, like, that is not my strength, but I'm impressed with how we did that
Yeah.
together. It took us 3 years to decorate our home, and like, I'm just very happy and content with it. But I want people, well, I guess backstory is we are entertainers. So in our friend group for years, like our house was the house that everyone came to for like Friday night drinking in the garage or dinner parties or game nights. Like it was always at our house. And so I want it to be this cozy, inviting feel. But I do like simple. I grew up in a house that was very cluttered. So, and Mitch feels the same way. My husband, we both feel the same way. Like we want simple, the less clutter, the better. I feel a cluttered house is a cluttered mind. So I don't want overdone walls. I know that a lot of people, I have some friends that just love the concept of wallpaper. And while I think that works for some locations, like I just I want just painted walls. I don't want
Does it scare you
I
from
think it can just be
commitment?
like too much, like sensory overload for some people
Yeah.
in a way, And so because we have a lot of kids coming in, all of our friends have kids, and now we have a child. And I do like that simple, not overdone. I think it works for some locations, but I just think for our house, like simple is better. But I just want people to feel like you walk in and you can take your shoes off, you can let your hair down. It's a safe space. I feel Mitch and I are both very empathic. I want people to feel like we hold space for you here, both emotionally, just naturally as a therapist, I just can't turn it off, but also physically. Like
Mm.
you can really let your hair down here. You know what I mean?
Where do people gather?
It used to be the garage prior to us having a kid, but now it's the living room slash dining room. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more of an open concept, not completely, but a little bit. And so it usually tends to be we have this really large farmhouse style kitchen table that you
Mhm.
can fit 10 around. I
Oh,
mean, it's
awesome.
huge. As
So
a
you
wedding
have that
present.
as,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
gathering space
Yeah,
for
we
people.
just naturally gather around that table. It was homemade for us as a wedding gift, and it's actual barnwood, and so we just love that space. The window centers around our dining room window, which looks out into our backyard, and in our backyard is this giant life-giving tree that looks like it's probably been there for like hundreds of years, but it's just like it's got a little swing hanging from it, and so the fact that that window opens up, like the table is there in front of the window and it opens up to that tree, and then behind the tree is a farm field. It's just, I don't know, it's
Mm.
cozy and it's inviting and it's fun. And yeah,
Is there anything that you would have changed now, like looking back?
the house itself.
The actual house,
Yeah.
like the whole house?
Yeah. I mean, I am super happy with the paint that we chose. I love the setup. I always wish the house had like a Four Seasons room, a room where you're inside, but you get the feel of the
Mm.
outdoors without being like freezing cold or sweating. That's the one thing. And we might add it at some point, but I love the idea of bringing nature in. We're not green thumb people. We kill
Yeah.
plants. Yeah. I just always like if we can bring nature in somehow, love that.
Well, and ever since I started doing this feng shui, and learning and diving deeper into, the land that you build your house on
Yeah.
has a meaning. Like,
Yeah.
the shape of the lot, the houses around you,
Yeah. Yeah.
the cul-de-sac,
Oh,
the
wow.
shapes of the street,
Okay.
different things. Like, are you by a house that has a steeple? I mean, like a church that has a steeple. Is your
Mhm.
house by that? So there's all of these different things in feng shui that you adjust. They're called attunements, depending on. I mean, there's so much that goes into it that
Mhm.
you have to read the house
Yeah.
using the
Yeah.
tools that we were taught in order to do that. But back to what you were just saying, like, I would never build a house without this tool that I now have. And I think it's pretty cool because, you can have your kitchen in an area that is, not necessarily good for the kitchen.
Okay. Interesting.
Bathrooms in certain areas of your bagua can actually drain your resources.
Wow. Okay. I think you and my husband would get along really well. He, as soon as we moved into this house, got the, what do you call it, the house deed? Yeah, that has
Oh,
all the
yeah.
history of it.
Yeah. Mhm.
And he got super interested in that because we're only the second owners of this
Oh, so
house.
you didn't build it.
No, so the couple that built it, um, that was their forever home. And
That's right. You said that.
yeah, and then when they had to go into assisted living, they had a lot of interested buyers, but they chose us specifically because they knew we were gonna make it our forever home, and they knew us as kids, and so we kind of had that one up, I think, but it's yeah, the land and who owned the land prior to them building the house,
Mhm.
like, that my husband was fascinated in that,
Mhm.
and so I think if we were to ever bring you in, like, you and him would probably, like, jive because the history part of it all, like, that is
Yes.
so intriguing to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, history matters.
Yeah, it totally does.
History
Yeah.
plays a part in
Yeah.
your home, because energy settles and it
Mhm.
stays long, after somebody's there. It's imprinted. We bring the outside in. We have our emotions. We go through things in life. We have
Mhm.
babies.
Yeah.
We get married. We get divorces.
Right, right.
We have loss and death. And all of those things definitely
And all of
matter.
that impacts the house, like the
Absolutely.
energy.
And it also impacts the person. So
Mm,
whether or not the house has any of that happening,
mm,
it's being brought into the home.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
it's not cleared or functioning in a way that could support that, it could actually make it harder.
that's fascinating. Okay. So, in terms of your feng shui that you incorporate into the business, how you position things in a home, and then even the energy aspect of that and how that impacts like the energy that's in a room. Can you talk more to that?
Well, I think the best way to kind of go through it is I created like a feng shui journey in all of my services. So when you're on my website and you're exploring my services, it always starts with like the first 90-minute tune in chat. And that is a session where the customer really just kind of gets grounded, understands who they are, what they're wanting,
Oh,
which is
wow.
really hard, by the way. A lot of people don't necessarily, they think they know what they want, but then when you start giving them what they want, they realize they wanted something different.
Mm,
And that's the
wow.
beautiful thing of renderings, right? So,
Yeah.
like when I was able to take, computer images with all of the things that we've picked out and
Mm,
make it, a full image of their room, things started changing and they wanted to change that because they were actually able to visualize it. And so that 90-minute session is, a visualizational tool, but it's more like meditational. Like, so we're helping, it's like, I'm holding space and
yeah.
helping the customer visualize like, who are they? What do they want? What do they want to create?
Wow.
When you're walking in your home, what's your favorite room? What's the feeling you get? What do you
Mm,
see? What do you
mhm.
smell? And these are all those holistic things, right?
Yeah.
So these are
Yeah.
all the senses that are fully encompassed. Like, where do you linger the most or where do you
Mhm.
settle? What corner makes you feel like you avoid it? And
Cool.
so these are all questions. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't do is they don't ask enough questions.
Mhm.
They don't tune in to the answers.
Mm,
They don't operate getting a little deeper into the truth of why do I want that?
mhm.
Do I want that because my friend has it? Do I
That's
want, do I want this because everybody around me has this house, so
mhm.
I have to have this house too?
Mm,
And then ultimately you have the house and then you realize this isn't even what I want.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, let's get to the root of it.
Mm,
And so that's that
love
90-minute
that.
session, okay?
Okay. Okay.
And then after that session goes into the
And
next.
is that in person typically or virtual?
Yep, so that could be in person
Okay.
or
I mean, I
virtual.
know you offer virtual services.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
done it both ways, and it really works both ways because it is just a really intuitive, like talking session,
Absolutely. Yeah.
breathing and breath and visualization, and it's really
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, I feel like you walk away from your clients with like knowing them probably at a level that they did not anticipate you would know them. Like you have to.
Yeah, and I definitely think that it's important that if you're going to do this work, or I'm going to do this work with a
Mhm.
family or with a person, that they allow me in,
Cool.
because
Cool.
you're paying for something.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it right. You know
Right.
what I mean? Let's do it
Right.
once, let's do it right.
Yeah.
Let's make it beautiful. Let's
Yep.
make it you.
Okay.
And then
So cool.
so the second
Mhm.
part of that is the next session would be if they wanted to kind of take their scattered thoughts and they wanted to make those thoughts clearer. So, and I do this, that is also 90 minutes. The cool thing about that is now they're asking me more questions.
Mhm.
So now they've tuned into their self, right? Or
Yeah.
say that they're like, you know what? I don't want to get all into that. I don't want her to know me.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, that's just weird stuff. And she's going to get all boo.
Right. Yep.
So I've got another service. You can skip that
Oh,
little
funny.
section,
Funny.
although I think it's very important. You can go right to the 90-minute session where you just start like showing me things and talking about your house and sending me pictures. And then like, just asking questions like,
Yeah.
should I put this here? Should I put this here? Should I do this here? And that brings a lot of clarity too.
Yeah.
So that would be more of me intuitively guiding them with
Yeah.
their choices and with their design and in their home. They have to give me pictures like 24 hours in advance so I can kind of just like tune in. But
Absolutely.
pretty much it's a power pack session. It goes pretty fast and they leave with a lot of clarity. And then the next one would be the alchemy map. And that is the feng shui.
Okay.
And so I need to have the house drawn out. So it can either be like regular house plans that you
Mhm.
already have, which is fine. It actually is a little bit more intuitive when the person
Mhm.
draws it out, because then
bet.
you can see like why
Yeah.
they're drawing things in different areas
Yeah.
and you line it up with the bagua and okay, well that's in her, financial area and this is in her, love area or him,
Yeah.
whatever. So that is that's over 2 weeks. So
Cool.
I get that. I do the work.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
fill out a questionnaire. It's pretty lengthy, but it
Yeah.
gives me the information I need to get in there. And so with that, I can go through all of the life areas of their home, tell them what colors, what to change. So the
Yeah.
pictures are being sent to me so
Yep.
we can see, so we can bring clarity on, if it's their furniture
Yeah.
shifting. Do they need to switch their bed, in their room, their blockages in those areas? So it's things
Wow.
like that. But then I can also tune into other things. And the answers come from the questions that they answer. So it's very
Wow.
individualized.
That's so cool. So you do those 3 sessions in that order, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can, you can just go right into the feng shui,
Right,
like
you
alchemy
could.
map
Yeah.
and, skip the first two because you
Sure.
just want me to read your home. And that honestly makes complete sense. But if we're going to work together and start shifting
Yeah.
things in the rooms
Yeah.
or in the house, and like I need to start tuning in as like an intuitive or interior designer,
Yep.
and we're going to start shopping for things, which is
Mhm.
like the session after that. I
Okay.
really think that getting to know the person can happen with the alchemy map,
Yeah.
but it definitely is super important for the person to understand themselves, which is the first
Yeah,
service.
I would agree.
Because
Yeah.
as you know, as a therapist, a
Yeah.
lot of people just need clarity. I have coaches.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
work with people who
Yeah.
help me clear my mind
Yep.
because I have creative. I mean, I can do 900 million things.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there is many ways to get into it. But
Mm.
as for the feng shui, using the Bagua map and working in these life areas mixed with what's happening in your life, like say you're going to get a new job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tune into there. Let's
Right.
say you're wanting to have a baby.
Yeah.
We would tune into there. Like, what does
Awesome.
that room look like that's in
Yeah.
that area? And how are we
That's
going to
cool.
like, bring that energy forward so that
Mhm.
it opens up this like clear path for you to get the most out of what you want in your life.
Wow. I'm just blown away by the service that you provide. Like, I just feel like it's way more than just interior design. Like, it's so much more than that. And I'm thinking in terms of my own life and like how I never would have thought, like, small town Stephanie, I don't think would have ever thought, like, I need interior decorating or designing, or I need to bring a feng shui expert into my home. Like, I just never thought that's something that I would ever see value in, just
Mm.
because growing up, that was not on my radar ever.
Yeah.
But I am just majorly blown away by this. And now I can see how there's just such a need for this. even in terms of like, my ideal listener at the podcast is female entrepreneurs. So even in terms of somebody who's building, designing, or running a business, brick or mortar or not, I mean, there's specifically for those who own like brick and mortar though, like there's so much value in bringing somebody like you
Mhm.
into that space. I don't know. Do you know Stephanie Gretz, who owns the health spa in Piasta?
I follow her.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I thought of you, or I thought of her when I first found you because she was very intuitive when it came to how she built her business. So she specifically had crystals put into the concrete
Mm,
of every room when they were pouring the
I love
foundations,
that.
right? Like just the
I
intentionality
love
that she
that.
put into that
Yep.
is just amazing. And not every business owner does that. And I just think, wow, like the grounding, it's a barefoot clinic, so you can't wear shoes in there.
Yes.
There's just so much intentionality behind all the parts of building and designing her space. And then bringing somebody like you in to then take it a step further to be intentional about how you place things in there and what you place in there. Yeah, I just see
Yeah,
a
it
lot
would
of
be
value.
interesting to see like where she put the crystals and like
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
yeah, I place crystals,
Do you?
all
Okay.
over the place.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I could understand
but
that.
I
Okay.
love that's really cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, for somebody like me, where I'm very intentional about, I want to start showing up as that next level version of myself,
Hmm.
and not just in my physical appearance, but also like how my office looks, how I show up like behind the mic, how my backdrop looks at home. What tips or what tricks would you suggest to them for like what are little things that you can tweak or change, whether it be at my home office or in their brick and mortar office, to help them feel more like their next level self, somebody who's more in tune with their intuition, somebody who shows up with more confidence? Like, are there little things in their space that they can change or they can alter to maybe support them showing up as their more confident and intuitive self?
I would definitely say like the number one thing that comes to my mind when you're saying that is
Mhm.
like, where is your desk?
Oh, okay.
So being in command is a huge
Yeah.
feng shui.
Oh,
It's
yeah. I
huge.
believe that. Yeah.
So your door, which, is,
hmm
the mouth of chi. So your door in your office, wherever it's located, can you see directly at your door where your desk is?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
that like intentional switch to like have yourself being in control of who's
Yeah.
walking in and out of that.
So that makes me think of the White House. So, like, you know how that, I think it's the Oval Office, but the desk is like in the center of the room practically.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
that's specifically because like they are in command.
Well, they're in command.
They're
It's
facing the door.
grounded. They're facing the door.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm sure there's, a lot of reasons as to
I'm
why it's
sure.
a huge
Yeah.
room.
hmm
It probably just grounded the space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening. And
But you're saying there is even having it in the center of the room facing the door that communicates like that leadership, that I'm in control of that.
yep. And then there's a lot of other things that play
Okay.
into that.
Yeah.
But, is there a window behind you?
Mhm.
So you never really want things to go in and out. So you really want like a grounded wall
Okay.
or, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say that the biggest tip
Yeah.
is to see if you're in command. And if
Love
you're
that.
not, you have to figure out ways to do that. So, for
Okay.
instance, like I naturally have my desk at my home, like here, for instance. It's not in command. I can't see the door. I'd have to like look to the side to see
Right.
the door.
Right.
Okay. So there's a huge mirror in front of me and I can see the door
Okay.
through the
That
mirror.
intentionality. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I like that.
mirrors play a huge part in feng shui
Yeah.
and just in
Yeah.
general, like bringing the room
Okay.
together. But yeah, so at my actual house, I have my desk against the wall because that made the most sense in
Mhm.
the way the room worked,
Yeah.
right? Like I didn't
Yeah.
design it.
Right.
The door was in a certain way.
Mhm.
Certain things can fit there, and
Yeah.
that's where my office is.
Yeah.
So I had already put a really big mirror, not in
Mhm.
front of me for vanity, but just because that just felt like really like I'm staring at a wall and it
Mhm.
just didn't feel right. So I was able to see that. And I didn't know that I was doing something that was feng shui
Yeah.
until I got certified to realize
Cool.
that I was in
Okay.
command. And then another thing I think for like somebody who's really up leveling their life and they're really looking for like more intention, I would say daily intentional practices.
Yeah.
You know, um,
Even like you said,
mantra or,
yes, okay.
speaking the words into reality
Mhm.
is a really big one.
Yes.
Writing, like, it down on your desk and keeping it
Mm,
there.
mhm, love that.
If you're going into the bathroom, like put a sticky note,
Mhm.
like, I love you. If you're
Yes.
feeling like a little like, your heart's not
Heart
really
chakra.
open. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Mm,
I mean, there's all
I
these
love
different
that.
ways to do that. But I mean,
Mm,
really, the work that I
okay.
do needs to be so specifically like
Mhm.
directed to that person's
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of tips and tricks that you can say, like, okay, in this area, put this stone. But
Sure.
really, truly,
It's personal to
it is
you.
so personal.
I love that. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's interesting though that you said that about the desk because I didn't know that, but we before we had our son, my office was upstairs and what is now the nursery. And we moved it downstairs now into what was my husband's office. And I didn't know, like, it's a square room. I didn't know how I wanted things to I kinda played around with furniture for a couple nights, and in my head, I kept going back to, like, "Huh, I wonder what things would look like if I had it in the center of the room." Like, that's so weird, nobody does that, but I just kept thinking, like,
It felt right.
I should try that." Yeah, there's a window, great, it would be, like, directly practically next to me if it was in the center of the room, yeah, and now that you say, like, that's what that means energetically, I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting because I do want to show up as that leader in my industry.
Mhm.
I wanna be thought of as a thought leader in my industry, and so that's so interesting, there's definitely a connection there. I did end up putting it against the wall where I can directly see the door, and the window is now behind me, but even how you said, like, the energy, like, it flows, and you
Well, yeah, and windows are like, you're being seen.
interesting.
Are you in the type of business like which you are,
Mhm,
where
mhm.
you want people to see you?
Yeah, yeah,
Do you want more exposure,
100%, yeah. Oh,
So
that's fascinating.
yeah,
Okay,
so
wow.
when I was in my feng shui course, back to the Bagua and
Yeah.
laying that on my personal house. So my husband built this house, and the garage, when you pull up, is pushed back. And then the front of our house is a little forward than the garage.
Okay.
And so your Bagua starts at your front door. And
Okay.
so part of my house, including my son's old bedroom, because he just moved downstairs, which was
Okay.
like totally like, he naturally did that, but,
Oh,
like, asked for it, and we'll get into that, but
okay.
my bedroom, his bedroom, and then my office
Yeah.
is out of the Bagua, and so I was like, "Oh my god, my office isn't out of the Bagua," and they were like, "It's not a problem. We don't have to do anything to change that because you are always outside of your house for work." So if
Mhm.
I was trying to
Oh,
bring abundance and money
yes.
and things into my house and I needed that, then we would have had to do some
Like,
adjustments,
it would need
but
to be in the box.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we would have to make
Oh,
sure that that happened. Yes.
interesting.
And
So what
then
determines if it is in the Bagua?
where your door is located.
Where your door is,
Yeah.
okay. Like, if
So
it's
there's
central to the house or not.
or like so it, like I said, my garage and my
Yeah.
front door were all flush. So a lot of my first floor is my garage. So I did
Oh,
things like I added new garage doors with windows.
hmm,
So now there's light.
that's cool,
And
yeah.
and so there there's a lot that you can do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's really
Wow.
interesting. So I have a split level house, and the stairs go directly up, and then right as you go up the stairs is a bathroom.
Mm.
So it's not the most like appealing thing, but it needed a mirror
Mhm.
so that it brought it back into
Yeah.
the bagua.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
I put a mirror outside that door, and I never kept my doors closed. Do you? Do you close all your doors when you're not in there?
For all the rooms?
Yeah.
No, all of our doors stay open.
Yeah, mine
Even our
too.
front door is usually no, I mean, not the screen, but, like, yeah, we just always leave our doors open.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
supposed to, like, close them, so interesting.
Energetically speaking?
I mean, I think that, like, yeah,
Mm,
it just was
interesting.
very interesting when
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
through all that in
Huh,
my house,
okay.
and that was
Yeah.
my own personal house, but I took 26 days to go through my house and intentionally, do all
After
of my
the function.
after they read my house
Yeah, yeah.
during the entire course.
Oh, cool.
But after they read my house, I was off the internet, and I did really intentional shifts. And I will tell you
Cool.
that there has been change. My bathroom in general, just to give like a little perspective on
Yeah,
like my own house and how
yeah,
that like, plays into my
yeah.
life.
I'm here for it, yeah.
Mine was in my fire section. So like visibility, how I'm seen. So it was going down the drain. So I had to do fresh plants like in the bathroom
Yeah.
because plants help
Oh,
stop
okay.
that. Always keep your toilet lid down.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So my husband on both ends did that on the house.
Wow.
It was always in that section.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I know.
Gosh, there's so many like avenues I feel like we could go down with this feng shui.
Hmm.
I'm just really interested in it. So as a therapist and even as a coach, I naturally want clients to feel more grounded in the space. Like, even though I meet with coaching clients virtually, I understand I don't have control over their environment, but I want them to feel grounded when we're in sessions. Specifically, though, with my therapy clients, I very much want them to just feel completely grounded in that space. And if somebody wants to bring that grounding energy into a room, what suggestions would you have for something like that?
So when you're saying like when you're on the chat with them, you
Yeah, I
want
mean, I
them to feel
guess it's
grounded?
twofold. Specifically in my therapy office, I think it's really important that clients feel grounded in that space. But if a listener wanted to make a space more grounded, what suggestions would you?
Well, a couple things come up,
Yeah.
but one
Yeah.
is what's underneath your feet.
Yes. Okay. Yep. I could see that.
So, depending on the colors, the textures,
Mm.
and how you want to ground that
Yes.
space, I would say a rug would be a
Okay.
really
Okay.
good thing. And one that like and when you think of grounding in a rug, and I think a lot of the mistakes that people make is they go too small. And one of the reasons why I think people make that mistake, and I'm not just accusing them that they don't want to spend the money, but
Right.
rugs are really expensive. And the bigger
Yes,
you
they are.
go,
Yes, they are.
like I'm guilty of it upstairs. I'm like, oh my God, this rug is $3,000. It's going to be almost $4,000 if I
Yeah.
go a little bigger. I made it
Yeah.
work. Like I got it
Okay.
down and,
You're right, though.
but it's a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
and so bedrooms are one of those things,
Mm.
headboards. There's a lot of different ways we can go
Okay.
through each room as to how that could be grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in like an office setting, for
Yeah.
instance, or in a room that they're going to be sitting in during your session,
Yeah.
I would say a supportive back to a chair. So, even in your office chair, like you don't want something that's super low. You want it to be a little throne like. Like you want to bring the support to the back
Yeah.
and to the shoulders.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would say being in an area where your feet are rooted onto the floor. So beginning any session in like coaching, therapy, or whatever, I would say getting very cozy and rooted in your seat, making sure that your back is supported,
Okay.
that
Okay.
you're
Wow.
wearing comfortable clothes,
Yep.
something that feels like loose enough to
Mhm.
kind of just be,
Yeah.
nothing that's going to constrict any
Right.
sort of like feeling
Okay.
during the session. Really rooting the feet onto the floor and either, having no shoes on
Yep.
and feeling the rug with your toes.
I do that in the summer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like such a cozy,
It
like
really
little
is.
moment.
Yes.
And if it's somebody that has like, hold a mala bead, like, hold something where, you can just take the beads and go through the hands while you're having all of these
Yeah.
sensories,
Like a bucket of
or
digits
hold
or
a
something.
stone.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things to do and to start before I, am in a session or after I'm done with a session is gazing at a candle. It's a
Interesting.
meditative.
Okay.
I always think that lighting a candle, I
You did
just
that
for
one.
us,
Yeah. Yeah.
it really just sets the tone of the space and brings a relaxing vibe.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And so even just, maybe taking a couple minutes with your clients and just saying like, hey, let's do a little check-in. Like,
Mhm.
how are you
Love.
feeling? Like,
Yeah.
look into the candle, do
Cool.
a couple breaths.
I love this. Okay.
Um, if we're talking about a bedroom, the headboard's a really big, important part of the
Yeah.
bedroom.
I could see that.
And if it's not stable, it can affect your sleep.
So what if you don't have a headboard? Like we just got a new bed in the last year and we still don't have a headboard.
One of the main things I would tell you is that you need to get a headboard. And you
Fascinating.
need to get
Okay.
one that's going to be supportive. Is your bed in front of a window? Or is
Not
it like grounded
no.
by a wall?
It's up against a wall, yeah. But not directly. No. There's a wall behind our bed. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can you'd be able to like build something to
Yes.
the wall. So it
Yes.
doesn't
That's
have to
what we would do.
necessarily be like a
Mhm.
headboard.
Yeah, we're definitely not gonna purchase one. We would definitely like make one
Yeah.
because it's an adjustable
Mhm.
split beds. Like
It's
I
yeah,
do
we have
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense to get a headboard really because of that.
Mhm.
So it would have to be one that's like, yeah, nailed to the wall or something like that. Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
that would have you noticed anything like with your sleep since you haven't had a headboard, or do you feel like pretty
No,
good?
but like in the last year, my hormones have been balanced. And so I
Mhm.
just naturally, I sleep so much better than I ever
Okay.
have. But yeah, I never thought about it in terms
Yeah.
of like the setup, like
Mhm.
something as simple as a headboard
Yeah.
impacting.
Yeah. Or at the end of the bed, like grounding something at the end of the bed. It
Yeah.
just depend on the room.
When somebody told me, I think it was in a Reiki session, they said to put some like sea salt under the bed.
Interesting.
And I can't, she told me why, and I can't remember now because it was over a year ago. And so I have I use seashells that we got from Florida that naturally have the salt on them. And so I just have that in a little bowl under my bed.
We have attunements where we definitely do adjustments where we put things under
Mhm.
beds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
For
remember
different
why, but
reasons in
yeah.
life, depending on like,
Yeah.
things that they say or that come
Right.
up with, integrating their life and what they're, trying to achieve or where they're at and
Yeah.
in the room or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some bed ritual things.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Even in terms of like lighting,
mhm.
and that's a whole, I feel like that could be a whole episode, the
Lighting
lighting.
is definitely, the color of the lights, but even curtains and
Mm,
shades. I mean,
interesting.
materials and texture play a huge part
Mm,
in a lot of that.
I bet.
Even
Yeah.
a cozy blanket. Like that's why
Mhm.
people have weighted blankets, right? I
Yes.
mean, there's
Yeah.
there's
The
reason
grounding.
behind that for a
Mhm.
grounding aspect. So I guess it just really depends on the person.
For sure.
But those would be some of the grounding
Okay.
techniques that I would bring into the space.
Okay. What role does healing play in your interior design and feng shui? Like, does somebody's, I mean, you kind of already alluded to this in some ways, but like, does somebody's healing journey come into play ever?
So I think that healing would be where you are and
Yeah.
where you want to go.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
And so I think that if somebody is on the healing journey, they've thought about or they've brought up different aspects of
Like,
what that means.
right. Potentially
Um,
past lives or, yeah, I do agree with that. That makes sense. Like, knowing that about myself has impacted how I decorate my spaces. So I could see that playing into somebody's, how they're decorating a home, how they're setting up a business or an office space, or, yeah, I could see that coming into play.
and I think that when you're in that shift or in a place where you are healing, you have to think a little bit more forward.
Absolutely.
And a lot
Yeah.
of times what you're doing is you're just kind of taking inventory of what you have
Mm,
and where you want it to go
mm,
because you can forward think what you're designing
yeah.
based not necessarily like, right now I'm healing. I mean, yeah, we can put certain
Right.
stones and we
Right.
could put colors
Yeah.
and we can play into those moments in that. But when you think of like an entire home, you want supportive areas for supporting their healing journey.
I love that.
So I think it wouldn't be necessarily, changing the house around healing as much as it being a space where they feel like they can go home and be supported, like wrapped in a blanket.
Mm,
It's like their
mhm.
home is
Yeah.
part of their support system
Mhm.
during their healing journey. So
Uh,
I think that would be probably the best way for me to say that the interior design or the intuitive design or the feng shui or
mhm.
anything would support that journey. So like I actually went on a pretty deep healing journey during this house, and I would say that one of the reasons I bought this was because on my journey I needed the space that I can create because I was creating for everybody
Mm,
else, and it was
mhm.
one of the main intentional reasons why I bought this place. What came out of it, because healing is a journey and
Yeah.
healing takes time. But what came out of it was definitely a space where I come in here and not just me. I
Yeah.
mean, other people come in
Yeah.
here and they just want to settle and they just want
Mhm.
to like
Cool.
sit and they just want to stay. And you go outside and I water for hours and I feel so damn happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something that I wanted in my life. So, and I didn't know I needed it until I
Mhm.
started creating it. So, I mean,
Well,
that's the unraveling of this journey, right?
yeah.
It's really getting to know what it is that you want
Mhm.
so that we could bring that to life.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. this is kind of switching gears a little bit, but what really drew me in was when you had that post on Instagram about your half door, because it's just something that you don't see every day. And so
Yeah, I love that.
you're going to need to follow her, the Alchemy House on Instagram if you don't know what I'm talking about.
So
But
funny.
explain to me I don't know, the why behind it, or explain to me like the
So
impact of the half door.
honestly, I have always liked, I call it the Mr. Ed door, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
a horse door.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've
Yeah.
always wanted, a half door.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first bought this house, there was this big, thick, funky door. It had no windows. It's
Right
like,
there?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like at the end of a hallway.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, this doesn't work for me. It doesn't have a lot of light. There was a lot happening here. It didn't have an island, which I created. It
Oh,
didn't have any lights over the island, which I
Okay.
created. Like there was just not
Yeah.
these little areas.
Well, and I could see, because that's a hall, I could see a big solid door. That would be a
Yes.
very dark area
It was.
if you didn't have that window even in the door, and the concept of being able to open the top part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, I mean, really what it was I had this beautiful wraparound porch.
Okay.
Completely, I was screening it in, and, I can have fresh air
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
open the door. And I
Yep.
don't have to worry about bugs coming in because it's got this whole vibe. So
Love.
it just worked perfectly for that space. And then when I researched what the half
That's
door,
what I wanna know. Yeah,
what the half door was, I'm like, oh my God. So that's in my wealth area. And so it gives
For
me
you specifically.
yeah, for this house.
For this house.
For
Yeah.
this house specifically, that bathroom and that section there, which we can go into like the wallpaper, which I didn't know about that
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't know that was my wealth area because I hadn't started the feng shui yet.
Oh.
And I had already had that picked and out
So
there.
it's almost like you just
There's like galloping
intuitively.
horses, there's fun, beautiful colors, and it's all about like bringing in wealth.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's amazing. So,
Wow.
which is really good for a bathroom because
Yes.
that can be, that can be a flushing out.
Oh.
But I have all these other elements that really played into it. So this door, when I researched it, because I was like, all right, well, is this bad? Because now I have like this half door that's
Right.
like cut.
Okay.
And I think you could probably look at it many ways, but you have the ability to like stay grounded, but still let more in. And so overall, that's kind of what the post was about.
Love.
And they can go on and read more because there's
Yes,
definitely
you
more,
should.
more into that.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God. It's just another thing. And again, why I call myself an intuitive designer,
Yes.
because I can just go and create. So I looked back at other houses that I had designed
Okay.
and I laid the bagua and I looked at all the
Spot on.
aspects, like literally from textures,
so
color,
intuitive.
where things were laid.
Yeah,
So it's just,
exactly.
it naturally happens for me. And like I
Yeah.
told you before we even started this podcast, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be any good because it's hard for me to explain what I do. I just do it.
And you're flowing.
Thank
So-
you. I mean, I'm passionate about it.
You are.
And the energy
It
behind it like makes me happy and I love what
Yes.
I do. But I mean, genuinely, a lot of these things were picked just naturally.
Yeah.
And then when I went back and looked at it, like there was always a purpose.
That's
And I'm going to start posting a lot more about the bagua because I'm
Love.
just starting to introduce like my services. Who am
Right.
I? What is this?
yeah. Yeah.
So if people
here for
follow
it.
along, like they're going to get to understand, like, in this area right here specifically, why did I pick this pink color? Well, this pink color was already picked, but it happened to be in the fire section. So like, this is a fire color.
Yeah. Yep.
I could have picked another color.
I love it.
You know?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
God for my painter. She helped me out because I had like 50 different colors.
Oh, I bet.
It was
Yeah.
between two. I'm really happy we went
I'm
with this.
really happy with it. And the gold complements it just perfectly. And
Yeah. So I'm going to post all about these little tiny tidbits because
Love that.
it's really important. I'm using this as an example house. Like this isn't
Yes.
like, oh my God, everybody has to live like this house.
Right,
This is
right.
just a really good example as to why colors,
Mhm.
textures,
why it matters.
why it matters.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
get to feel it while I'm in here. It's really calming.
Yeah. And, in the world of Airbnbs, and so many people are, marketing their Airbnbs to be appealing and attractive to the eye and attract buyers and vacationers. And there is just such a need for a service like this because, what we've been talking about up till this point has really been about like the energy you want to bring into your home. But then you could go down a whole different path with these, like the Airbnb market with like, well, what vibe do you want to give off to vacationers? And obviously your location matters with that. And, how do you want them to feel when they're here? And I mean, that's like a whole nother ball game, I feel
Oh,
like,
total dream. Like if
versus what
anybody's
you live.
listening and they just want to open tons of VRBOs or even
Yeah.
hotels, I've always
Yeah.
said I just would love to be a hotel designer because,
Cool.
when you're trying to rest outside of
Mhm.
your normal bed, that's a whole
I
thing. And
believe it.
I
Yeah.
just, with the spa background, the beauty industry, and
Mhm.
just like my furniture purchasing and all
Yeah.
the things, that
Yeah.
would be ideal. But yeah, realtors would be a huge,
Mhm.
huge, customer of mine because when people are selling their houses,
Yeah.
there's a lot of energy behind that. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
different things we can help customers with when they're
Mhm.
selling their house. So yeah,
That's
I mean, there is so
awesome.
much.
Okay, well, I specifically am huge on manifestation practices.
Mhm.
And as a manifestation coach, I am like, not just in your day to day practices, but also, again, how you set up your space will impact. You brought up like having affirmations on your desk or in your bathroom or in your room. Are there I mean, I know there are little things that you can do to a space to help you manifest your desires,
Mhm.
but is that something that you bring into your practice as well?
Yeah, I do a lot of like I manifest, right?
Naturally.
Naturally.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of what happens with me and that I would like the customer to understand, which is
Mhm.
kind of going back to that visualization tool,
Yes. Yes.
is if you can actually see it, it will
Mhm.
come to life.
Yeah.
And so that
Mm.
is why I created that as my first
Okay.
service
Love.
because, words of affirmation,
Yes.
stones, all of that. I've always claimed things before they were mine. Like, I
Yeah.
have friends and they're like, I'm not going to say anything about this job because I'm worried that if I put it out there,
Oh,
that I'm going to jinx it. And I'm like,
wow.
oh, no, no, no.
Jinxing is not a thing.
That's your job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
you want that job?
Yeah.
Because you got that job,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
that's your job.
Yeah.
Can you see yourself in that job?
Yeah.
Because that is your job.
Yeah.
And so it's the same way with
Mm,
a house.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
anything I ever wanted in my entire life, I didn't know that I wanted it until I could actually see it. And
Mhm.
then once I saw it, there was no stopping me.
I love that.
And it's
Yeah.
the same with anything that I create.
Mhm.
It's not luck. It's not like somebody
No.
just comes and gives me this hard work and says, it's not going to be hard. Like you
Right.
can just do it. No, it's pure grit. It's passion. It's the
Mhm.
vision. It's what I can see and it's what I go after. And so
Love that.
definitely visualizing.
Yes. I'm huge on that.
And
I
if
love
you're
that.
not clear in your mind what it is that you want, it doesn't matter how much you
Mhm.
manifest. It's not going to come yet.
Yeah.
I
Well,
truly believe that.
I agree with you. And I also think like you need to be able to embody just true joy and contentment in the here and now, whether that space is set as your ideal space yet or
Yep.
not. Like if you can't learn to embody true joy and contentment with your current circumstances,
Mhm.
then your manifestation practices are just null, I feel. I mean, kind of a waste.
Or in general,
Yes, in general.
let's just
Yes,
say that,
I
customer
agree.
can't afford the house that they can see themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thing.
And then this is a total real thing. I
Yeah,
want
it
to work with
is.
real everyday people. Like
Mhm.
we're not in this like imaginary world where
Right.
everybody's building these $1 million homes. I don't live in
Right.
this area where that's
Mhm.
happening. We are
Yeah,
all settled into these spaces where we need to be happy where we're at
I
because that is
agree.
super important.
Yes.
So, like, just visualizing a peaceful environment and creating that is
Mhm.
just as simple. I
Yeah.
mean, what makes you happy? And
Yeah.
that can be 3 daily rituals. Like,
Mhm.
that can be
Yeah.
taking off your shoes and walking in that earth out
Mhm.
there. That could be,
Yeah.
creating a little workout space
Yeah.
because movement
Yeah.
feeds your soul. And
Yeah.
so we concentrate on having that space in your home where you
Mhm.
have that little section where you can go to. I mean, there's so many things. It's not huge pictured. It's more like tiny stepping stones into the perfect place in
Yeah.
your home and in your life.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just the other night, me and my girlfriends, we have a group chat and we were talking about, we just get into these really like in-depth conversations. We were talking about like, well, what does your dream life? And then it turned into dream home look like.
Mm.
One actually is hiring a holistic interior decorator
Cool.
and out in California. And she's like, can I have access to this episode before it goes live? Because I just want to know what to ask this woman. And I was like, yeah, sure. But she's very much into wallpaper. And she also just we call ourselves like we're the same person. We're practically soul sisters, but I'm the light and she's the dark. She loves
Moody.
Halloween. She loves black. Yeah, and she's just very attracted to wallpaper and just very much this like eclectic vision is what
Mhm.
she has for herself. And that's her idea of her dream home,
Mhm.
right? Like that's what feels home and cozy to her.
Right.
And I was like the total opposite. Like I said, I want that coastal beachy vibe and light and no wallpaper. And so it's just, I guess what I'm saying all this because I want people to think like, yeah, we're not talking about like $1 million mansions here, but you can make your home
Mhm.
into your grounded sanctuary. Any space,
Mhm.
big or small, it does not matter. You can make your home into your own sanctuary. It's which I think we all need to have that mindset. I think we all should attempt to make our homes into that safe space because at the end of the day, if you can't go home and just truly ground yourself and unwind and feel, at peace, then something is wrong with that space. Like you should be able to do that at the end of the day. And if you truly can't do that, I think something's got to give
Mhm.
here. You know what I mean? Like we live in such a, everybody seems to be functioning from a fight or flight state so much more than they ever used to pre-COVID. And so I think now more than ever, that's why everybody deserves that. You know what I mean? Like,
And definitely with the Feng Shui map
mm,
service. And I
hmm,
think that it's so important that people understand that these are like intentional
yeah,
moves of different things in your
yeah,
house.
yeah,
The investment of what I usually have them, purchase or
mm,
move or bring in
yeah,
is not these huge purchases that
nice,
are going to be
nice.
changing an entire
Hmm.
home. And
That's great.
and this is energy.
Yes.
And these can be created with things
Mhm.
that are tiny, or
Yeah.
sometimes it's not even a thing.
Oh, okay.
It has to
Wow.
do with you and
Oh,
how you move and where
oh,
you put it. And
yeah,
I think it's super important that people understand that, yeah, can we
yeah,
build a house? I have a service for that
yeah.
where
You do
we can do a full service
from start to finish.
from start to
Hmm.
finish. I can still do that. I mean,
Hmm.
it's what I've been doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I really truly believe, and the feng shui plays into that, and it's great,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
not everybody's redoing their house, but
Right. Right.
everybody has energy wrapped around them. I
Hmm.
mean, the world is full of energy. Everything's
Yes.
energy.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay. I'm just gonna like put it out there. It's on my vision board. So at some point I'm hoping to manifest a vacation home in Arizona,
Yeah.
specifically Sedona, because it's an
I
energy vortex.
love
I
Sedona.
figured you would, yeah. And so I'm gonna manifest you helping me design that. When
I
that
love
time comes,
that.
I'm just gonna put that out there, okay?
I love that.
Yeah, because how cool would that be
Oh
to
my God.
and it's gonna still have a tropical vibe, even though it's amongst the mountains, but that's okay. I again like going back to this Airbnb concept, if somebody wanted I mean, I'm not going to design a home for it to solely be an Airbnb, but like, why would you not if you're not going to stay there year
Mhm.
round? If somebody wanted to, have you help them design a vacation home, I know you didn't build the home, so you're probably just coming in with your feng shui service, right? Like,
Or design, or yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, if they're wanting to completely paint the space and update the space, trying to think what I want to ask you with this. I know there's a bunch of different directions you can go, but I guess what I'm wanting to know is like if you're specifically focused on a vacation home, so you just know there's constantly people coming and going, which means there's constantly energy coming and going. Is there something intentional that somebody can do with a space like that when you don't have complete control over the different energies that are coming in and out of the household? Like, regardless of like the history of the home, regardless of the person who owns the home, because normally you work with people who own homes, live in those homes, but we're talking about like constant energy flow coming in and out. How do you how do you set up a home knowing that like you have these constant fluctuations of energies? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that what you're asking me is that you want me to help somebody who has, multiple people that are
Yeah.
coming
How
into
would
their
you
home, and what would they do
kind
to
of like,
keep it like a nice, steady
yeah,
flow of
yeah,
energy. I
kind
would
of like a
say,
hotel. Like you can't control the energies that are coming in and out of there.
no, you can't control it, but what does happen is that, there's still these grounding pieces
Okay,
that
true.
create
Yes.
this, environment
Yeah.
where it's going to welcome every energy that
Right.
comes in,
It has
right?
that effect.
So we have that
S
effect because we've already
Okay.
put like the paint, the textures, and all those things together.
True.
But then there's like cleaning and clearing.
Oh, yeah.
And so cleaning and
Yeah.
clearing is, I think, maybe what you're kind of getting
Yeah,
into
'cause that's a
without
whole
like
'nother
knowing. Oh, there's different ways that we've learned in our feng shui practice
Okay.
to clear a space.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit. That's a whole 'nother
Yeah,
I feel
and
like.
so, okay, I will say that there's different ways to clear the space.
Okay.
And, most people would use like a sage.
Yeah,
Right? It
Palo
would,
Santo
yeah.
specifically. Yeah, that's my
So,
favorite.
that would be like a nice, like, let's go around. And again,
Mhm.
bringing that intention, right?
Yes.
Do you want to bring good energy in? Or are you going to remove the energy out, right?
Right.
What is the direction that you're
Right.
going with it? What is the
Yes.
purpose?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you've got that. Then you're cleaning, right?
Okay.
So you're intentionally cleaning. So you
Right.
can bring intention around your cleaning.
Yeah.
And that is then going to guide like why you're doing
Mm.
that. So like today, it's funny that you said that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
today I was cleaning the house and
Like this house needs
like this
Like,
house. Well,
okay.
I keep it up. I
Okay,
keep it up.
all right.
Yeah, because I want good vibes.
For
Right?
sure, for sure.
And so, like, for instance, that mirror in the front was a little bit like,
Sure.
it was just a little cloudy,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, I want a clear opening
Yeah.
from this mirror into the space.
Mhm.
And so I intentionally, as I put the mirror there and
Okay.
why I put the mirror there,
Okay.
I actually also cleaned the mirror, bringing that same intention
Oh, wow.
of
Okay.
clarity
Yeah, yeah.
because it's placed there for a reason.
Right.
And now I want that to stay open. And so I definitely think intention behind cleaning is a really big deal. But
Ye
when it comes to the feng shui, a lot of the adjustments that we give to our clients, there's a lot of exchange of energy.
Mhm.
And then I have teachers who taught me. So in order to, honor them, we use red envelopes. And so these red envelopes, like you would pay me
Yeah.
in these red envelopes.
Yes.
And there would
Yeah.
be 9 of them.
Oh,
And
cool.
you would send them to me. And you would put your offering in there, and that is the way that you and I are exchanging the things that I'm going to give you to do to your home. And they're going
Interesting.
to be,
Wow.
whether it's chanting, whether
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
clearing, whether it's,
Mhm.
specific things
Wow.
that we get into. Again, which is why a lot of the really deep work will happen
Yeah.
when you do the actual like house
Yeah.
thing. But there are definite ways
Wow.
for
Okay.
clearing. I think the easiest way is that if somebody was coming in and out of here, which people come in and out
I
of
bet.
here all the time,
Yeah.
like I had my really good girlfriend and her husband came with and they, did the whole house for me
Mhm.
and she was cleaning and
Love it.
her energy stayed in this home. Like I didn't touch anything. And I
Yeah.
did that on purpose because I
Oh,
love her
okay.
so hard. And
Yes.
I just like wanted her energy to kind of stay there. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like quite the blessing. It can be
Yeah.
equally
Yeah.
as good to have certain people in your
Right.
space, right?
Right.
But if you
Yes.
feel a shift, yeah, there's things.
Okay. I love that. I love that.
Hopefully I
I
answered it. You
Yeah,
did.
no, you did. I guess sometimes I know what I want to get from you or from my collabs in general, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't know how to put this in question form. I just know I want to know something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the clearing I think is so important because I just think in the world again where everybody's like Airbnbs are just so common, but yeah, you're having that constant flow of some good energy and some maybe not so good. I also think that that does come into play though in a home too. We're going into the holiday season prior or after recording this, and again, like that flow of some negative or interesting energies sometimes coming into the home. And
Mhm.
yeah, that feng shui comes into play with all of that, I feel like. So, okay. So, for somebody who wants to access your services, would you say, I mean, because you are in the Midwest in more of a rural area, would you say it's something that's affordable to most?
I would think that, I think that affordable means like
Yeah.
what is somebody
Mhm.
willing to spend and
Yes.
do they think that it's worth the investment?
Priorities. Yeah.
Exactly.
What's a priority for you
So
right now?
I would say that because I've been in this work for a really long time and I
Yeah.
believe that energy deserves an exchange.
I agree.
The exchange
Yes.
that I've put on my services perfectly
Mhm.
set and very
Good.
intentionally done
Good.
for the amount of work that I'm going to put in and for
Awesome.
the amount of
The value that you bring.
they're going to get
Yes.
what they
Yes.
paid for it.
Definitely.
So I would say that it's definitely worth the investment.
100%.
I mean,
Yeah.
my biggest service for some, they'd be like, "Oh my god, that's a lot of money," because it starts at 18 grand,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's
as it
because
should.
it's a full house,
Yeah.
and
Building start to finish, right?
that could be like a small house at 18. I mean,
Yeah.
I need to know, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
How long is how
Absolutely.
many rooms? I mean, I need to be
I love that.
my energy, my time, my expertise, and what I
Yeah.
bring to the table is
Yeah.
very valuable. And I've seen people create on top of what I've created and
Mhm.
found, a very open path to their taste and not need me anymore.
Yeah.
That I definitely think that it's affordable for the person
Good.
who's willing to invest in themselves.
Yes. I
How's
love
that?
that answer. Sounds like you've worked through any limiting beliefs around money.
I have, and I have to tell you that
Awesome.
the main like limiting belief was that I actually enjoy what I do and I
Yeah.
want it to be accessible to
Oh,
everybody because I
girl.
just know
Preach.
that everything that I give is
Mhm.
so like it's just like these little scatters of glitter, and I just know that, people could just be happy if I help them. But I also know that it sucks the living energy out of me to
Mhm.
give more than I get,
Yeah.
and I had to shift that, and
Good
this
for
new
you.
business is definitely.
Good. It feels like it's soul aligned for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
have put a lot of thought and effort, not just in the design, but
No.
really truly into the services themselves, why I'm
Yeah.
serving the customers with these specific services,
Yep.
why they play into the role that they do,
Yep.
and how it can definitely be like a buildable thing
Mhm.
so they
Yeah.
can afford it and start at the lowest part, which
Yes.
is really tuning in to who they are and what they
Right.
want.
And your ideal client would have no problem paying your
Yeah,
fees. And that's what you should believe. And you
I
obviously
do.
do.
And
So,
I know I'm
yeah,
not for everyone,
which
no,
is fine.
and I
Not
and I
everyone is your
and
ideal
I
client.
don't wanna be,
No,
and
niching
so
down is so important. I
yeah,
mean, I completely agree. And you have to believe there's an abundance of your ideal clients out there just waiting to find you.
exactly,
Yeah, that
and
desire wouldn't have been put on your heart otherwise. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just fully
Those
believe
are
that.
beautiful words, and I
Yeah,
will hold that because
yeah,
I truly believe the same, and I've done a lot
good.
of work around that, so thank you for
Yeah,
listening.
it does not sound like you have any scarcity mindset
No.
around your business and what you
Mm-mm.
do, which I'm like, girl, I'm here for that.
No.
I love.
I also have like 15 jobs and do a lot of things that I love. So
Yeah.
I do know that if I'm going to tune into this and this is what I'm going to be doing during the day and helping somebody,
Hmm.
that it's going to be because they want me to be there helping them.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't have to like enter it thinking like, oh, got to go to work. It's like,
Right.
no, I get to do this work.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
feel
am
that.
choosing to do
Hmm.
this work because this work lights not only me, but the
Yeah.
people I'm working with. And I
Mhm.
am completely sure that by the time that we are
Love
done,
that.
that they'll be really happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that at my core. Yeah. And they're not, I just feel like with the work you do, they're not just getting an average interior decorator off the street. You know what I mean? They're getting an intuitive. They're getting, I know you're not officially, but like they're getting an energy worker or getting somebody who holds space for them. I don't know. They're not just getting an interior designer with
Mhm.
you. There's so much more that you bring to the table. It's like how I feel about my therapy and my coaching services. It's like, yes, you're getting therapy with me, but I'm also a psychic. I can channel for you. I'm intuitive. I There's so much more that they're getting with me, and same with my coaching. I could say the same thing. And so if you can see the value in what you bring to the room, hypothetical room, then you should have no problem charging what you think you are worth or what you think your time is worth.
And if we're like thinking of everything as like a room or a space, I think
Right.
the only shift comes when somebody else like changes that. The
Good point.
energy that other people bring
Mhm.
is just as important to the work
Yes.
that I'm bringing. If they're coming in doubting it from the beginning just because they want to like get into the space and understand the energy and what it is that I do, they're not going to get a lot out of it.
Mhm.
And that's not going to be my problem. It's
Yeah.
because they weren't being true to why they hired me.
Yes, I
And
love
so I
that.
cleared all of my services and I make sure that everything is very, very much so accessible to everybody, how to start, where to go, and why they want me to help them do this work.
I love that. One final comment I want to make before we wrap things up is, when I look at my line of work as a therapist and as a coach, I feel very firmly that part of my soul's mission in this current lifetime is
Mhm.
to help people speak their truth more, open that throat chakra more, This just came to me as you were talking, but like you pretty much do the same thing, but with physical spaces, right? Like this land, these properties that you go into or that you help people with, like there's a story behind it. And it's almost like you help bring those stories to light. You help bring them to the surface so that they're not like stuffed down and pushed
Mhm.
away. And that all impacts the energy of a space. And
I really think that a house speaks
yeah,
because I hear it.
100%.
Like, and I don't
Yeah.
hear it in this weird way where I walk in. Like, it takes some time. I definitely notice a
Yeah.
lot of things that maybe other people wouldn't
I
notice.
bet you do.
And so when I'm in someone's house, it's not only noticing like what they like because they gave me like mood boards, but I'm also noticing what the house likes and what their like old taste was and the items that they brought in the house from their other life, their
Mhm.
other home that had
Mhm.
its own story.
Oh, wow.
Because I really truly believe that starting completely over, yes, that's a thing.
Yeah.
But we all need to see things in a new light. And
Mhm.
I think if people were more open to exploring instead of just going shopping because they feel like they need something else,
Mhm.
if they were seen with their things and shifted just a little bit to like it representing something else, it can
Yeah.
just become so much more beautiful. And that's how I feel about a space.
Okay.
I think that you don't have to like necessarily always take things down to the studs to make
Right.
them beautiful.
Right.
There is, a clearing that can happen
Mhm.
with just such simple like things. And it depends on their budget and what they're willing to invest
Yeah.
or how much they want to invest in this year, but
Yeah.
what their like, end goal is. And when you think of something so specifically, it becomes so beautiful. And
Yeah.
it's not about starting over.
Right.
It's
Right.
about meeting yourself, your place, your
Mhm.
life, where it's at.
Oh, wow. Beautifully said. Yeah. I'm just wondering, do your friends and family, do they get intimidated by you coming to their houses because of
So fun.
because as you're talking, I'm like, "Oh god, I don't know if I want you coming to my house, like you're gonna judge me."
This is why I don't have any friends. No, like it's so funny because my mom came over here to this house and
Cool.
she loves this house. She just loves
I
this little
bet.
space, and
She's
she's
gotta be
just
so
so
proud.
proud.
Yeah,
She is.
yeah. Love the emotion. I love what's coming up to the surface for you.
Takes a second.
Yeah, let it. Sit with it.
So she said to me, like a couple days before I was done with the space, they were going to come and take pictures. And she just looked at me and she goes, "Don't you just sit here and smile?"
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And
Mm.
sometimes I just have to admit that I'm so in it and I'm trying to make everything so perfect that you have to take a step back and you
Yeah.
have to like look at it
Yeah.
and know that, I'm human.
Right.
My clients are human.
Yeah.
We all want this perfect aesthetic that's just going to be
Mhm.
so pretty for this picture. But
Like
you
a
know
picture.
what? That doesn't
No, it
matter
does not.
because I can take
No.
50 pictures and you know what? It
Mhm.
doesn't look or feel the same
Mhm.
in person.
Mhm.
If I could like explain this to people, I am in it. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it multiple times.
Yeah,
I've been in
yeah.
other people's spaces. I've
Mhm.
been in it. I've seen them do it multiple times.
Mhm.
We've spent lots of money. We're at the end. It's still not perfect. Sit with it. Just sit with
I
it
love that.
because the truth is that if you find appreciation in every single thing that you're doing, you will be happy.
Wow. There's a reason we did this in person, you guys. Because
For the crying, like,
well, just
yeah.
everything. Some of the questions I asked, I did not have on my outline. So just like intuitively what's coming up for us is just so interesting. And looking at the time, like this is going to be a two-part. This is a two-part collab for that reason. Okay, before I wrap up, because I do want to do some rapid fire questions with you.
Yeah.
What's next for you? Any exciting offers? What do you want listeners to know if they're like, I want this woman? How can I get a hold of her? I'll put everything in show notes, but do you want to share how people can reach out to you? What's the best way of communicating with you?
Yeah. So what's next? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just going to keep continuing to share and pour into my writing. I love to write.
Oh,
It's literally
okay.
one of my favorite things ever. So if I was to like manifest something, it's going to be my book.
Oh,
I have a lot to say. And it's been a journey and I would love to share that one day.
so you're currently in the writing process?
I'm currently in the writing
Okay.
process.
What's the
I'm
genre?
creating, it's probably going to be about, this journey in life, and how I got here and the whole thing. But it's definitely going to be something that I'm manifesting and
Mm,
I
I love
can see
that.
it. Like I
Yeah.
can see the book.
Love
So that is kind of what would be forward from here because
Okay.
honestly, like I'm living my dream life at this moment.
Oh, that's what I love to hear you
yeah,
guys.
like I've
Yeah.
created the balance in between all of my things that I love and my family life and
Okay.
everything feels right there.
So there might be a future collab once the book is published
Yeah.
so that we can bring her on to talk about the book.
And
It
then
might
all the
happen.
jobs along the way for the
Yeah.
people that, want to work with me and all of
Yeah.
those pictures and stories. Like, there's a lot that can go into this book. I've already
I
have a
love
lot of
that.
stories, but
Cool.
you could find me at the Alchemy House.
Yes.
And thealchemyhouse.com is where my website is. I am
It's German house.
so that is that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I love it.
So you can find me there. And I am just going to keep pouring out a lot of reasons behind all of these things. I think educating my customer and it takes a long time.
It does.
I don't
to build
think
that trust
that,
and whatnot.
yeah. And I'm not sitting here tomorrow thinking that I need to have 200 customers because to be honest, I only want the right customers. So
yeah.
if somebody feels called to work with me, if they
Mhm.
feel that my voice has, sparked something in their heart or, made them kind of feel like what you were searching
seen.
for, that it exists.
Yeah.
My God, this is here.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for it. I definitely would feel open to receiving that customer.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put it out there that after this episode goes live, that you will have one, if not more, knocking at your door. Like you coming on the podcast is going to open the door for a new client, customer. Well, then,
That's exciting.
yeah, that'll happen for you.
Thank you for the love.
Yeah. Do you prefer people to DM you or email you, or is there a
Yeah, they
contact
can DM me or email me or go to alchemyhouse.com. There is a whole contact form.
Awesome.
They can explore all of my services and then they put their information in and then it actually like funnels into more reasons why with pricing.
Yes.
And then they can kind of evaluate whether or not that works for them.
Okay. Love it. Okay. Ready for some rapid fire questions? Okay. What's one room in your house that instantly raises your vibe?
This house or my house?
Your house. Yeah.
Okay. My actual house.
Yeah. That's what I'm most interested in. Yeah.
Bedroom.
Sorry, my mind goes to dirty places, but I love that. What is a favorite crystal or item that you always incorporate into your designs?
That's a hard one.
I know. I would agree.
Always incorporate?
I know. After I asked that, I'm
because
like,
I feel like I
know.
don't always incorporate the same things
I bet not.
anything.
Like, do you always incorporate crystals? Because not everybody, I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing.
I would say that I definitely could. I gotta think about it.
Or maybe like what's a common item or crystal that you incorporate quite a bit into your designs?
You know what? Like with this rapid question, I feel like I need to like have the signature little like drop because I don't have one yet.
Well, I always take out the pauses. You
That
don't have
is
to worry.
so funny. Yeah, I would say probably mirrors.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
say mirrors because they make a big impact.
I could see that now. It makes me want to add more into my house. So, okay, what is a design trend that you wish would just go away forever with interior decorating?
White.
Awesome.
White.
Awesome. Yeah,
I'm over it.
Yeah, I get that. I think that's a good tip. What's a non-negotiable for every sacred space?
Paint.
You must paint.
It has to be
It's a
painted.
non-negotiable.
Like
Yeah.
even if it's like one color. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a must do. If your soul were a paint color, what would it be?
Chocolate brown.
Interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. I could see that now, like looking in this space. Okay.
Chocolate brown.
Wow. Linda, thank you so much for agreeing to this. I cannot believe this download just came to me out of thin air, and I'm glad I acted on it and just on a whim messaged you. And here we are today in person doing this collab. And I personally feel, because this is not a common topic that you hear about on just any podcast, I feel it's a lot of value. And yeah, I hope someday I can bring you on again and maybe we can go down a whole nother rabbit hole with
In
one of these
Sedona?
topics. Yeah, preferably. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I already know I'm going to use you for my business at some point. Like, I already know my therapy office will need to be revamped.
I love that.
So
And especially therapy office.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah,
done a
agree.
therapy office. It was pretty amazing.
I think it would be.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll work together for sure professionally and then hopefully at some point personally.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
My vacation home. Thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And you guys, as always, if there's anything about this episode that just really resonated with you or intrigues you or you have questions, you could DM me, you can DM Linda. But as always, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the podcast. I really appreciate it. If you do leave a review, just know I will do a shout out in a future episode because I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate my listeners. All right, guys, until next time, have a great rest of your week.